What's up, guys? So I think this video is going to be one that resonates with a lot of the big guys on the channel. It comes from Tommy, who is a former wrestler. He wrestled in college, a lot of years of wrestling experience. He wrestled primarily Greco-Roman. So if you guys don't know what that is, the Greco-Roman's where you're like locked upper body, you're fighting for underhooks, overhooks, you'll see big lateral throws, big suplexes, things of that nature. And then this is opposed to, freestyle, which is where you're going for the single legs, double legs, and all that stuff. But his question is that when he gets into jiu-jitsu now, because of that previous wrestling background, on the feet, man, he has a distinct advantage than most people. And he has this really interesting problem where when he goes with smaller men, smaller women, he doesn't know like when to do the techniques that he wants to do. Because here's the question. Let's say he's locked up with a smaller man or woman. He can pretty much throw these people at will because he has so much more experience in these areas, right? And he says that when he does this, he feels like he's cheating them. He's like, man, I'm cheating these people because I'm just throwing them. But at the same time, he says, if I don't throw them, then I feel like I'm cheating myself because I'm not working on my technique. And he's kind of wondering how to proceed and how to roll with these people in the gym, when to go, when not to go. And I say that this is a question that might resonate with a lot of the big guys because we're talking about rolling with smaller people, smaller men and women. And again, as a lot of big guys, it's one of the problems you might run into. It's like, how do you know when to go and when to back off a little bit? So Tommy, thank you for the question, brother. And I'm going to share this from my experience. And this comes from a guy who wrestled before. I wasn't at your caliber, but I wrestled before. And when I got into jiu-jitsu originally, I smashed the hell out of everyone. No women, I never did that. But any guy that I ever rolled with, I smashed the hell out of all of them. I used my A game every single time. And then as I got older, a little bit more smart about this stuff, I actually got a lot better by adjusting the way that I rolled with every person. Meaning I don't roll with anyone exactly the same. I'm not going to roll with a 100-pound man, a 200-pound man, 300-pound man. I'm not going to roll with a 100-pound woman, 150, 200-pound woman. I'm not going to roll with anyone the same. White belt, black belt. Every roll is going to be a little bit different depending on the situation, right? The only time I ever go into like A game mode and I really start to use that same stuff over and over again is when it's like tournament training time, where I'm getting ready for that hard competition style training. That's when I turn that intensity on, and that's when I like basically used the same techniques and just run them down people's throats. That's what that's there for. But like on a day-to-day session for training, I have different things that I'm working on, and that's what I'm doing. So a great example of this being beneficial to my game is, because again, you don't want to cheat yourself when you're doing this, is that when I was rolling with all my blue belts back in the day when I was a black belt in competition training, and keep in mind, I was the only black belt in this area that was competitive, like doing competitive tournaments at the time. There were no other black belts in this area doing competitive tournaments. So I was like the only one, and I had blue belts to train with. Occasionally a brown belt, black belt to roll with, but for the most part, blue belts to train with. If I used my same A game all the time, right? Not just, before competitions, but throughout the year, I guarantee you I wouldn't have gotten any better because I knew what that did went from white to purple belt because that's what I did. Instead, when I would roll with them, I would put myself in bad positions. I would use things in my game that were weak, like areas of my game that were weak that I needed to be built up. Or I would like put myself in situations where they kind of had an advantage where, like, for instance, I would line the guys up on the wall and I would roll with every single person. It'd be like 20, 30 guys, and I would roll with every single one of them and try to submit them as quickly as possible in order, just without any rest. And it would just wear me out. Or when I would roll with people, I would look at the timer, set a timer to 6-7 minutes. And my goal with them was not to submit them, but rather to allow the scrambles to happen. So I would get a submission, but I would kind of catch and release, let it go, and then like let the scramble happen and then move from there. And I got much better at scrambling and moving around without stopping. I actually got a compliment at this time period about how much I moved for a big guy, and they were asking kind of like what I did for training, and I told them, I was like, basically I just don't submit my guys all the time. I'll kind of let them move, and basically my goal when I roll with them is not to catch them in submissions constantly, but to just keep moving. And so for you in your situation, it might be a little bit different because you're not the instructor of your gym, but what I would say is you got this upper body wrestling stuff down, right? You can throw people, you can launch people, fantastic. When it's tournament training time and you need to help people touch the intensity, or if you're rolling with some of the higher level, more skilled people, some of the larger people in your gym, that's when you can kind of go back to whatever it is that you're best with, right? Because you have to, right? Because otherwise you're just gonna get crushed. But when you're rolling with these physically smaller men and women who you can just basically throw and launch any single time, because I mean, again, regardless of whether or not you're newer to jiu-jitsu, you have a really deep grappling experience, right? So I would say roll with those people and work on areas of your game that you're weak from. Right? Instead of smashing them every single time, instead of launching them through the wall every single time, allow yourself to play on stuff that you're weak at. This way, you can build up other facets of your game. And then when you go roll with those other people, that's when you use the A game that you have. And that's what I would say. And again, you can do that in a number of different ways, but that would be my thing. And again, when you tell people, don't tell people that you're going to like play something weak. Like, right, if I go against like a smaller guy, I'm not going to say, hey man, you're really small, so I'm not going to work too much on top position. I'm going to pull guard first. right? I don't need to say that. I'm just gonna pull guard, right? Or if I go against a blue belt, I'm not gonna say, hey man, since you're only a blue belt, I'm gonna let you pass my guard and go to side control, and then I'm gonna work on my escapes. I'm just gonna pull guard and I'm gonna fight with them and kind of let them get around so that I can let them get into a side control, and then I'll work from there. And this is a way that we can kind of benefit and build each other up. You know, again, just like weight training, right? Because I know you said you weight train. Just like weight training, you don't go in every single day and do the same thing, right? You have different goals for different days. To me, I approach my training in jiu-jitsu the same way. Some days I'm working on leg locks. Some days I'm working on this particular style of guard. Some days I'm working on be more of a top pressure, or whatever it is. Sometimes there's weeks of this stuff. But I have goals for myself, and this way I'm setting things and not just simply doing the same stuff over and over again. I think I'm kind of rattling off the topic here, Tommy. But again, I hope this video helps you, brother. Good luck with your training, and all you big guys out there, again, roll with people in different speeds. And again, if you're a bigger guy, learn how to play with pressure when you need it, and then learn how to play without pressure when you don't need it every single time, okay? So guys, thanks for the questions, and I'll talk to you guys next time.